This is Samurai Jack.
I will eat your soul!
And so is this. And this. And this.
What do you think of that, Mr. Pajama-wearing, basket-faced, slipper-wielding, Clyde-Street buckle, gather up and play more blithering gomeril,
And lots
Jesse
of this. Samurai Jack is amazing. It's storytelling at its purest form because although it's able to balance out so many different tones and ideas, every single aspect of this show revolves around one thing. Action. And its setting of a dystopian future allows for endless possibilities creatively to come up with unique situations for this action to take place. One minute, Jack could be walking through a graveyard while getting ambushed by zombies. The next, he could be helping out futuristic Spartans with rocket launcher spears from an evil robot army. Or tell the tragedy of a robot bounty hunter able to feel emotions who just wants to take care of his dog Lulu, all set in a neo-noir, Cowboy Bebop-inspired rain-filled atmosphere.
As soon as the rain stops, I'll go in and get him. For Lulu. Sweet thing.
And the best part is that absolutely none of these scenarios feel out of place. On top of this, there's very little character development. Jack is pretty much the same in episode 1 as he is in episode 31, and aside from a few exceptions, there are very few recurring characters, making every new episode a completely different experience with new characters, settings, conflicts, and of course, fight scenes. Samurai Jack is about as simple of a series as you can get, which made it perfect for anyone, no matter how old you were, to pick up and understand. This is a samurai stuck in the future, trying to get back home, and will fight anyone who gets in his way. Samurai Jack is first and foremost an action show, make no mistake, but if you were to look at an average episode, you may notice just how much silence there is. It's not uncommon for minutes to pass by without a single word of dialogue being spoken. And these moments, these little calms before the storm, are my favorite part of Samurai Jack and show just how much respect its creators have for their audience. You have to remember that this was a show that aired on Cartoon Network to mostly kids and young adults. They understand that people come to this show for their action and they'll get it, but they have to wait first. These moments not only bring the audience into the world of a particular episode without the need for dialogue, but it makes those intense sword fights that much more epic. But aside from just building up tension, these moments are just genuinely beautiful. Jack was, without question, the most artistically driven show on the network, and it shined through in its presentation. The backgrounds were created using real landscape paintings, which adds that extra layer of character within the places Jack inhabits. The show also played with camera work, specifically aspect ratio, in ways that even to this day we haven't really seen done in most animated series. In any given scene, the show may switch to different camera angles to really emphasize their impact. Just take this moment from the episode Jack and the Three Blind Archers. In fact, this episode is a great example of all these different elements coming together. It tells the story of a fountain that's able to grant any wish from those who find it, but in order to reach it, you have to make it past 3 powerful blind archers who are guarding it on a watchtower and capable of destroying entire armies by themselves. Jack hears about this through one of the only survivors of their attack in a bar and immediately seeks it out, hoping it'll be his way back home. Creator Jenny Tartakovsky says that this is his favorite episode from the series because it was the first one where everything he had envisioned for the show came into fruition. There are entire minutes that go by of just Jack walking through the snow, seeing the damage these three had done to an entire army with nothing but the sounds of feet crunching in the snow, howling winds, and creatures in the background. But there's a specific moment in this episode that stands out even more. Jack had tried to attack the archers normally, but immediately knew he was outmatched and retreated. He then realizes that in order to beat these archers, he has to play their game and go blind himself. And the way this show visualizes Jack adapting to this change in style is perfection. Of course, this is just one of several episodes to choose from, and not all of them use silence in the way it's been done here. Some episodes are more comedically centered, just look at any episode featuring the Scotsman.
I carry me haggis in a basket. You might even make me shiver if you want, dressed in a nightgown. You look like my nanny.
Others are much more creative with their settings, like this episode featuring Jack in a bright, colorful neon rave, and others are much more focused on their fight choreography. This whole black and white sequence from the episode Jack and the Ninja is perfect, probably the best fight in the entire series. A personal favorite of mine is the season 4 episode, The Princess and the Bounty Hunters. This is a much more dialogue heavy episode that focuses on a unique group of bounty hunters who have all met up in this isolated cabin in order to kill Jack and claim the bounty put on his head. You have a set of twins who copy one another's moveset and speak in rhyme, an ancient tribal warrior who specializes in poisons, an overly sophisticated gentleman, a big Russian meathead named Bjorn, and a princess from a kingdom enslaved by Aku who plans on using that bounty to save her people. Almost the entire episode is spent with these characters where we learn about their backgrounds through a local barber, as well as their own unique combat styles and battle tactics as they try to tell each other how they plan on killing the samurai. For about 20 of these 22 minutes, we are stuck in this cabin with these characters we have never met nor will ever meet again, trying to come up with a successful plan. It's only at the very end, after a long and arduous build-up, that the episode comes alive. The bounty hunters take their places and wait for the samurai to finally appear from the shadows. The scene cuts to an iceberg dripping water as we slowly start to cut between the incoming samurai and the bounty hunters, gripping their weapons, waiting for the perfect amount of time to strike. As Jack gets closer and closer, those drips of water start getting louder and more intense as the bounty hunters reach closer to achieving their bounty. All of this buildup has led to this final moment. And just then, in the time that it took for a single drop of water to fall, the hunters never stood a chance. I've always liked this episode because so many times in action cartoons we see the main character just go through henchmen like it's nothing. How many times have we seen Jack mow through hundreds of creatures or robots with ease and we haven't thought anything of it? This episode puts us in that perspective. Not just the perspective of a major villain, but one of the thousands of henchmen Jack has sliced down. We got to see just how much time and effort was put into this attack, all for it to be shut down in less than a second. It really makes you appreciate just how much of a different level Jack is combat-wise compared to everyone else in this world, and I love the way they handled it. But unfortunately, like most other shows on the network, on September 25th, 2004, it did get cancelled after a solid 4-season run. It was sad knowing that Jack would never find his way back home, but the episodic nature of the show did make it seem that there was no definitive end in sight. So Samurai Jack just kind of ended there, with Jack forever roaming Aku's hellish nightmare, until 13 years later on March 27, 2017, where it got picked up by Adult Swim for its magnum opus.
Aku's grasp chokes the past, present, and future. Hope is lost. Gotta get back. Back to the past. Samurai Jack.
Season 5 of Samurai Jack did something that very few pieces of entertainment could do. Not only did it have the monumental task of finishing off a beloved series years after its original runtime, but it took an already near perfect show and somehow elevated it to an even higher level. The jump to HD combined with the move to Adult Swim allowed every element of this show to realize its fullest potential. Adult Swim not only allowed for the action to be more graphic, but the story itself is considerably more bleak. Jack has been trapped in Aku's future for decades, and we finally get to see the trauma he's endured portrayed in a way that just can't be done in Cartoon Network. Themes of PTSD, survivor's guilt, murder, and being haunted by the ghosts of his past. I don't want to give too much away, because if you haven't watched any part of this show and don't feel like watching 50 plus episodes of it, at the very least you should check out this final season. It's only 10 episodes, and although some may be slightly disappointed by the ending, I personally think it's amazing, especially for those first 3 or 4 episodes. But honestly, as I was going back and rewatching some of those older episodes, it's incredible to see how much they still hold up. I think this is one of those shows that could have been made at any time and it would still be great. Nothing about it feels dated, and if it aired today, I guarantee you it would be a hit. It's without question one of the finest pieces of action animation to ever air, and Jenny Tartakovsky and his team created something truly special. Samurai Jack is amazing, 10 out of 10, and yeah, thanks for watching.
Watch out! Watch out!